Hey everybody, Coach Mel here in my new house. Welcome to the MelFit podcast where we talk all things health, fitness, and lifestyle. As you heard on our intro, I do wear a lot of hats. The reason that I like to be the whole enchilada is so I don't have to farm you out to people. So whether you're listening to this podcast or you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for joining here today. This is going to be an amazing episode. I have a guest. We're so excited. We have Johnathan Brozek, and he said I could call him JB. So welcome to the podcast. So super excited to have you here today. So everybody that has been listening to the podcast, you know our format. We love storytelling. So I told Johnathan that that's kind of what we're going to do. I'm just going to give you kind of a short intro. And I met JB through his wife, Melissa, same name as me. So I shortened her name to Mel B.
Yep.
Did you? Because I told you we have so many Melissas in our group. So they own a juice company in town called Good Juice. And I recently started ordering their juice, and it is phenomenal. I had a bad experience years ago with a juice cleanse. I'm not going to mention any names, but I just felt like all the juice was really sweet, and maybe the person wasn't super knowledgeable about a juice cleanse back then. Long story short, we all gained 5 pounds because all of the juices were sweet. And although you can get sweeter juices if you want, they definitely have a lot of the green juices, which are the ones I like. My husband likes the sweeter ones. So this one we have here is the Oceans, and he loves that one. So I met Melissa just kind of on a business collaboration. We went to a women's little business function, and then Johnathan reached out and told me a little bit about what he's doing, what he wants to do. And I think it was just, I don't believe in coincidences. I think that he reached out to me for a reason, because you're just going to have to listen to the story. So without further ado, we're going to give the floor to you and just kind of tell your story. If you are listening to this walking, get on your treadmill, go outside. Don't just sit there and listen. Get some exercise.
That's right.
Go right ahead.
Great, Coach Mel. I just want to say, on behalf of the team at Good Juice, we are inspired by what you do in the community, and we talk about how active you are, and just thank you for what you do in the community. You're just bringing support and exactly what we're about. So I wanted to open up with that. So thank you.
Thanks.
I'm excited to talk to you and be here. So yeah.
All right. So tell us your story. I got some bullet points, but I definitely want to hear more. So
yeah. So just rewind back 10 years, and we're just starting a family. My wife and I, Melissa, are starting a family, and we get hit with this news that she has this autoimmune, GI autoimmune issue. And so we're pretty floored by that. And so what we do is what everyone normally would do. And they go to a Western medical doctor and they say, hey, doc, what do we need to do? What's the issue and what's the plan? And so we did that. And the plan we got from the doctor wasn't acceptable. And well, let me step back. We got the plan, and the prognosis was you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. You are going to possibly need surgery, and cancer is going to most likely be the end result of this. So we're just stepped back. We just start a family, and we have this, this news that comes at us. And so we leave that meeting pretty shocked, but months go by, and we start to come to this realization that we don't accept that. That's not what we accept is what's going to happen. And so that starts us on this path, this journey of rediscovering, I guess, as it were, nutrition, rediscovering pathways and opportunities to heal ourselves through plant-based medicine, through herbs, through spices, and just finding new ways. And what we discovered was everything that we had grown up to understand wasn't correct. We had relearned a lot of very important tools, and that's what we did. Good Juice was the impetus for that, is creating or finding opportunities to create products that offer solutions that are organic, that are whole foods, that are for people that are just looking to get a step forward in health, or even just to continue a healthy path. And so that's our store on why we started Good Juice. It's really important for us to, our one of our core missions is just making information that wasn't easily accessible to us accessible to other people. So information and support. And so that's part of the mission. Is the juice is the first step. So that's a little bit about kind of where we came from.
Food is thy medicine.
Food is medicine.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Have you had a lot of people that are confused about juices and juice cleanses? Like, have people asked you, like, is it good for you? Should I do it? Do you feel like people are educated about it?
Yeah, it goes a little both ways. I mean, there's some people that can't have a lot of sugar. So we have the green juice, which is a great supplement. And then there's some people that like the sweet. But one of the biggest misconceptions is sugar. You've got the processed sugar, and then you have the natural sugar, which is absolutely necessary and sustainable for our life and well-being. And so that's one of the misconceptions, is that stigma behind sugar. The other part is that one of the not confusing, but maybe the roadblocks is people look at the price of a 13 or 16 ounce juice and go, what am I paying for, right? And then if you look at 13 ounces of juice in raw form, it's 2 to 3 pounds of food. But what you're getting is that nutrition distilled down in a digestible form. And so that was like one of the key movements forward for us, is we found a way to heal with good foods, and it was easy for digestion. And then, so if we're meeting someone that is having similar issues to that, it's just, the conversation is pretty natural to go to that. But yeah, there are some, I think when people think juice, they think orange juice, right? Or apple juice, high sugar from concentrate. We don't believe in that. We're 100% organic, whole food. We source locally if we can, but everything is picked individually by us. We will go to specific vendors to make sure that we're getting good produce. So, yeah.
And we like that you do it, because we used to juice ourselves, and it's just a lot of work and a lot of mess. And so I want to ask you a quick question. What is the difference between cold pressed juice and then what other people are serving?
Right. So great question. Cold press essentially takes a vegetable or a fruit and it grinds it down. It essentially does what's called masticating. It's like a masticating juicer. So it's essentially chewing the vegetable down, and then it presses the juice out of it so that you're getting all of the nutrients, all the minerals. You're not actually disrupting the fruit or the produce. So cold press is basically, it's still in its purest form. When you do the centrifugal force or the really high speed, you're not getting some of the nutrients that you get from the cold press, because it's basically like chewing the food, and then it's making it liquefied so that your body can just absorb it quickly. So it's really the more of the pure, most natural way, in line with eating, that you can get in a juice.
And is there a pulp?
No, it's not pulpy at all.
There's no pulp.
No, so there's the process we have. We have this wonderful machine, and talk about cleanup. Let me tell you, it is a lot that goes into it. But we have this wonderful machine, commercial machine, that we use that has a grinding process, a pressing, and then it drains it through I guess you would call it a filter, and it's a very fine filter. So we have very little pulp. Very little to, if any.
I learned something new, because I didn't know the difference, because Melissa said that, but I really didn't know the difference between the two. So interesting.
Yeah, cold press is the gold standard for juicing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cold standard. I love that. Awesome. So, how do you feel like it healed Melissa, or where did it go from there? So, kind of give me the story on that.
Yeah, so that's kind of the other part, is that the journey to that healing process was a combination of a lot of different activities. She started making her own nut milk. She started making her own, sprouting her own beans, making her own lasagna. She went on this discovery of whole food, raw, vegan diet, and where she sourced everything and made everything. And then we also brought in juice simultaneously. So it was this combination of everything. And in 6 months, she went from the issues she was having to them being gone. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm simply saying that through our experience and everything we went through, which was a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of heartache and discovery, that we found this process. She implemented it and it worked. Why we leaned on juice so heavily was we were able to get, well, for one, we did a lot of research on just the benefits of it when you have inflammation and digestive issues and high acidic.
Yeah.
So we were able to use juice as a gateway to let things heal and calm and get the nutrients you needed.
Yeah.
And so that was why we came to this realization that we're like, wait a minute, this is the first step. So juice is the first step. Beyond that, there's so much more, which is why we talk about at Good Juice building a community and support and accountability. It's like, here's juice, but wait, we're trying to build this awareness around that. And an interesting side note, which is I think really important for people listening, is that and this is not a shot at Western medicine because we use Western medicine for when we need it. But Melissa recently went to a local GI doctor here for just kind of a general wellness checkup, and I'm hearing this story secondhand. So again, I'm not getting exact, but this is from her. Is that he told her, I've worked all over the country, all over the world. I used to work in the military. And in this community is the highest concentration of GI issues I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh!
And
Here?
Here. And so when she came back with that, literally that next month is when we started Good Juice.
Wow.
We said, okay, we know what we know. We know we've always wanted to create and share what we've learned. Now is the time. So we invested heavy into the equipment, into the and she is, by the way, she's a genius with her recipes and her separation.
Yeah.
If you saw her, she's like an artist, that's what she really tries to do, is create art with her work.
I love it.
Makes it pretty.
I love them so. Yeah, you guys are both like the A team. I mean, you guys do a really good job together.
Thank you.
That's why I was kind of wondering because I would text her and be like, I'd really love a reorder button, and I'm like, oh, I spoke too soon. There it is.
Yeah.
So, and then the follow up email for reviews and stuff like that. So I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yep. But yeah, that was a piece of it too. Is when we moved here and we saw, wait a minute, that we know what is needed even when it's accessible, but when you move somewhere and it's completely inaccessible. So we saw an opportunity here to bring what we know to this community. And like you were saying earlier, that there just needs to be more of it. We need to have more access, more information, and the more the better for the community.
Yeah. It's 2023 and people still don't know how to lose weight. You know, one of the wealthiest women in the world still isn't under goal weight.
Right.
Like, I mean,
right.
It's crazy. And I always say, in my opinion, I'm going to say most, but in my mind, I'm saying all. Any disease is curable through exercise and nutrition. And any Western medicine doctor tells the clients before they come to me, and probably you guys too, like, you need to change your nutrition. You need to start moving your body.
Yeah. Number one, fitness and exercise. And then two, of course, the nutrition. They work simultaneously, but you got to move.
Yeah.
Our bodies were meant to move and to be used. And so you have to get into that motion of doing it.
Yeah. I love it. So the whole family's into it?
Whole family's into it, yeah.
Love it?
Yep, the whole family loves it. As a matter of fact, everything that we produce, we consume. So there's nothing that doesn't go, that we don't pass to the community that we wouldn't participate in.
I say samesies.
Yeah, that's how we roll, for sure.
So Melfit is me living my life. It wasn't hard to create.
Right.
You know, for years people were like, can I get that recipe? Can I get that worked out? Can I get that recipe? And I was like, oh, what, you want to see me live my life? Here it is. This is what we do. Yeah. So it's fun. So good.
Yeah.
So where else? Where else are we going?
Where do you want to go?
What you got over there? So you, when all this was going on, were you living in Oregon, I believe?
California.
Oh, California.
So we were in Truckee, California,
okay,
which is near Lake Tahoe, if you're familiar. And then we moved up towards Washington. And then after visiting Coeur d'Alene, we discovered that Coeur d'Alene was like Lake Tahoe 15, 20 years ago. And we just need to get a piece of that. And it's out of California, but it has everything that, it had to offer, which Lake Tahoe is the most amazing, beautiful location. So that's where we are. And things are getting into the community and just trying to, I shared earlier, is is sharing what we've learned and being a gateway to just health and well-being. And that's just a big part of our value and culture.
And you had Good Juice and you brought it with you, or
No,
you created
we created it here. We started it here. So that the journey brought us here. And as we're working through the process of what do we want to be transitioning to, how do we want to grow personally, and what do we want to expand our life into, because we've worked in corporate, rigid systems, and we've been self-employed, but what do we want to create? And coming here was that light bulb, especially meeting with that GI doctor and then just seeing what the nutritional landscape is like here in Coeur d'Alene. We said we could help here.
Oh, for
and
sure.
we want to help here, and
for sure.
and I think the timing is perfect. Yeah.
And we have Mel probably told you she drops my juice off at Brew Bar. If you're local, Post Falls, 220 North Spokane Street, formerly Leopard Lattes. In my opinion, that is the only place in this town to get healthy food. So it's really nice for me to just go there and get my own stuff, but we definitely have a shortage. But what I was telling the owner as I was educating her about the growth of this area, and people like yourself who've lived in California, you're used to rolling up in that every single day.
Everywhere.
For you to have this sparsity of whole foods, it's just weird, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for years, if I didn't make it myself, where could I even go buy anything? Right. So, they're used to that. So, they're moving here, they're going to buy it.
Right.
If it's here.
Yeah.
But there's not enough of it here.
Yeah, and even to your point, when we were in California, there was this abundance of food, but the knowledge of how to eat that properly and how to execute it into your life so that you're in a position to lose weight, to heal, to just maybe grow and improve. And so, that's not even with what we really respect about what you do is you provide a service and a product, but you embody that too. That's your lifestyle, and you also show the way, and it's through that. And so that's how we're going about it as well. And there is so much room for competition in health and wellness because we need it for our community.
For sure. I agree. Competition creates growth.
That's right.
So you were in finance and banking for 22 years.
Yeah.
And you basically just transferred here, or you started a new company here?
No, so I'm essentially home based. So I work in a remote fashion. So I'm able to have a little bit of autonomy with that, and still be able to be focused and productive, and then be able to give back to the community. Start getting to a point now where we're able to time manage and work on projects that are giving back quite a bit more. So that's where we are right now.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to talk about?
Yeah, you can candidly.
I'm trying to give you the floor.
Oh,
I always talk, right, Josh?
Do you? Okay, well, you asked me, so can I go to some questions you asked? I love them.
Yeah. Do you want me to ask?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to.
And then I'll touch on a couple things.
Yeah.
So let's see here.
Oh, Coach Mel, before you get going, I did want to mention this before I forget. It just popped in my head. For any listeners or anyone that's interested, there's this book called Nourishing Traditions, which was written by Sally Fallon. Anyway, I don't want to go into the deep specifics, but it was a big gateway for us in our understanding of nutrition. It basically goes back to hundreds, thousands of years of the nutritional culture of civilization and what it really was based on. And it really opened a lot of eyes for us. So anyone that's interested in Nourishing Traditions, I just wanted to drop that.
Can we put that in the notes? We'll put that. People love that.
Yeah, it's a great, again, I'm not a nutritionist, and my wife she's the one that has notes coming out of that thing and post notes.
I love it.
I've read through, and it was a gateway for us. So good piece there.
And so I kind of let you know the other day that I'm generally coaching about 100 people coming and going.
It's impressive.
And there are so many people that need me and they need you. And the one thing that I hear, especially post-COVID, is I'm ready. And that is so awesome because when you hear those two words, that is like music to my ears, and you too, because then you're like, ooh, good. You're ready to listen. You're ready to learn. You're ready to absorb the knowledge we have.
Right.
So that's what I'm getting lately.
Great.
I just told Josh this, I am not getting any tire kickers. You're in sales. You know what that is, right? Nobody is wasting my time right now. Any call I get, they're not cold. They're hot.
That's great.
And they are so ready. And I hate to think that a pandemic really opened up people's eyes, but it really has. I mean, and I always talk, if that wasn't enough to, give you that wake up call, and unfortunately people were already in a bad spot, and then they went back even further.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy to help people. So, but
Yeah.
let's get to some questions.
Can I touch on that before you go? So adding to that, now more than ever, especially with what we've just learned and where we're going, taking self-ownership of your health is super important. So that's kind of like when we had talked about like our origination, where we came from with our business. Now more than ever and moving forward, you need to individually take action on your health.
Absolutely.
If you're going to someone to go fix me, heal me, that is an option, but you need to actually just go, okay, I'm taking that step. So that's great to hear. People are like, I'm ready. Let's go.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah.
I always tell people, you can hire me. You can hire anyone. But what makes a good coach is someone that practices what they
That's
preach.
right.
They lead by example.
Right.
I don't know if you know my backstory, but I used to be a size 15. Now I'm a size 1.
I did not know that.
I've maintained my weight for over 20 years. And I feel like that is probably the thing that I'm most proud of, is I don't feel like I'm a fake. I don't feel like I just quickly lost some weight and now I'm trying to help people. Like, I actually know how to do the hardest thing is not losing the weight, it's maintaining the weight.
It's a lifestyle, right?
So,
It's your lifestyle.
So
it's
the
not
fact that I've and to create, that's what Melfit is. We always tell people, if you were behind me in Starbucks or wherever, brew bar, and you asked me, like, what is Melfit? Melfit is a lifestyle, and it's teaching people to live with good food prepared by a chef and a nutritionist, and not be deprived, replace, don't remove. So,
Awesome.
But yeah, you guys are my people.
Cool.
I don't know. I think Melissa and I, we need to get to know each other better. We kind of talked a lot about business, but I could tell right away we had coffee or tea. We both have the same name. We both ordered the same tea.
Okay.
And I could have talked to her for hours. We talked, I don't know if she told you. We must
She
have,
did.
and that wasn't enough. I couldn't get my fill of her.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not I'm friendly, but I have a lot of friends. So I'm not looking, not to sound snobby, but you get it, right? But yeah, she's a keeper.
Yeah, there's a running
She's
joke. There's a
sweet.
running joke in our family that she's comes from a long line of good witches. She just has this way of always finding people that is exactly who we need. She's just in this this timeline of just always pulling them in. So
I invited her to this event, and I have a lot of friends would have been like, "Can we ride together? Wait in the parking lot." I look over, there she is, and then we were leaving, and I thought she was leaving too, and I was calling her going, Mel, I'm sorry we left, and she's like, oh, no worries, I was chatting. So she's the type of person you can take her anywhere, and she's not, she can handle her own.
Absolutely.
So
she's a good one.
She's confident, and I like that. I love the way she carries herself. So
Thank
excited
you.
to get to know you both better.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
All right. So the question that I think we should start with is, what is your why? What drives you?
So there's so many reasons. Having children, of course, going through some of the issues that we went through with the health were really big motivators. But our why, I don't know. Maybe you could speak to this too. But when something turns on you, you can't turn that off. And for us, it was really this awareness of everything we had learned and unlearned from our nutrition. We had been made open to all of these different options through going to seminars and conferences and different healthcare practitioners. And we found this whole other world, and we told, maybe privately, but we lived this, is we wanted to share this. Yeah. We wanted to get this information somehow, move it forward into the community. And we talk about it as much as we can with people that are interested in hearing about it. But, I think, on maybe like a grander scale, why we do what we do is, and one of the value systems of our family and Good Juice is that so many people from hundreds of years ago that we are connected to made sacrifices, made decisions, did things that pushed us right to where we are today. And we want to try and fulfill that obligation for our future leaders and our kids and the community, and do what we can. If we just are one brick in the road to creating awareness about health and well-being, and we turn one person on to one book or one idea and it changes their grandkids' lives, that's what we're about. So that's kind of our why. It's like, we're going to push as much as we can to get out what we've learned, because it's been expensive. Yeah. It's been time consuming. It's been, we've had families that have, looked down on us and almost said like, what are you doing? You're not eating cheese, where you're dairy free, gluten free. Okay. And so, going through those progressions, and now we're like, okay, we've got something to share. That's our why. That's a bigger kind of overarching. Yeah.
I'm on that same page. It's like, I just want to make a difference. I just want to, leave a legacy, and just, I'm same page as you guys. So it's kind of funny because we actually got a phone call a couple days ago, a client who actually lost a friend over her decision to better her health. She's a food addict, and she has a obsessive compulsive eating disorder, which is a disease, and she asked for support and she didn't get it. And she just said that was probably the hardest part of her journey. She's lost like 41 pounds with me, and she's like, I just have to call you and just tell you. And I'm like, I get it. I said, I am the minority most of the places that I go, so I get it. I said, but you just have to have total conviction in the road you're going down. And I always say, you eat like them, you'll look like them. You drink like them, you'll feel like them. So that's always in the back of my mind. Yeah. Not that I'm better than anyone else, but we all know what, overeating and bad food does to us. So, So I want to touch on a couple things. I'm going to go back to questions, but a couple things that you said, and you might have already mentioned this, that you want to grow within the culture of our community. Yeah. I think it's really cool that you guys are new to this area, but you're embracing this area. And I personally welcome anyone from anywhere, and especially, do you feel like this is it? Do you guys feel like this is home for you guys?
Yeah, we feel like this is home. When we moved here, this is home. So that was one of the, I think 3 months in, we're like, we're home, because we had been from California to Washington, and so we had been pretty nomadic in a way. And so when we found this, we get to put some roots down. So that was, and that's the other part of in the community is like, if we're going to be here, then we want to influence the community in a way that we think is positive and growth related.
I always think it's interesting to kind of hear what brings people here. And you guys moved with some friends, I heard, or Melissa's best friend. Yeah,
neighbors. We were in a neighborhood in That's this cool. a beautiful neighborhood in Washington. It was a fantastic setup, and the neighbors and the kids, it was just so collaborative and amazing. Everyone got along. Kids would just come in the door when you were sitting down and grab stuff out of your fridge, or and it was just great. And then COVID came and it just wrecked it. It was just, it changed the entire dynamic of it. And so as we were going through this, okay, well, maybe this isn't the last stop for us. And so we traveled again. We were heading to Wyoming actually, and we passed through Coeur d'Alene. We're like, wait a minute, like, what's this? So then that was when we back to your questions, friends in that neighborhood moved here as well, up to Hayden. Good people. So cool. Good people are moving here. Really good people. Really good people are moving. I'm here to tell you, good people are moving to Coeur d'Alene.
They're going to bring you some value. So you also mentioned on our phone conversation that you're bringing other products to life.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what else you guys are bringing to life. And I feel like health and fitness is just a tree. You know,
Yeah.
like people are always overwhelmed when I tell them my credentials, and it's like it could go on and on and on,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
what else are you bringing to life?
So one thing we do cold pressed nut milks, which some people use. If you've never had a organic whole cold pressed nut milk, they're fantastic. We make that now. There are some products that we're kind of hush hush about because we're in the creation stage that we're super excited about, and I think we're probably a few weeks away from bringing those to market. But they are all cold press organic related. So we're working into that. We're working that into the fold. We're also integrating coaching into our business, and so what, again, just part and parcel to this whole culture and mission that we're on is bringing awareness and support into the whole juice component. Like you shared earlier, what's the stigma behind some of the juice and just some of the process? And so we felt compelled to get educated and be able to communicate appropriately in a coaching format. So we're bringing that to the table as well, and that's under development too. So those are some exciting things, and we will definitely share with you once they're available so that we can promote it more. But right now, our core product is juice and nut milks, and yeah, that's where it's beginning.
So you had mentioned you're getting into a coaching business yourself, which was super intriguing. But I want to start with a couple of questions, and then we're going to roll into that. Mm-hmm. What do you think of when you hear the word coach?
Accountability, support, teammate.
Love it.
Growth,
Love
potential.
It. Love it. And most of the calls that I go on, that's what people are looking for, is accountability.
Yeah.
Have you personally used coaches yourself?
I do. I use one now. Yeah, it's in a remote fashion.
Okay.
But I do. I use one. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you share the purpose of, like, why did you hire a coach? What's your purpose? How did it benefit you, if you want to share?
Yeah, well, so a couple of reasons. I was going through coaching training, and I realized that, there's a few reasons, but one of the main core reasons is I needed to have my voice heard in a way that was more, and so a coach allowed me to kind of just get stuff out of my head. As being a male and a husband and a family and a provider, I'm so much in my head. And so I needed to kind of download everything that I was going through and get it out. And so one of it was just hold space for a guy. Like to be able to hold space for a man, another man, is not something you hear. For women, it's easy, it's a nurturing component. So I just needed someone to go, hey, I just need to unload what's on my mind or what I'm going through. But the growth part of it was, I'm approaching 50, and I'm going through kind of a transition of my own of working in a very rigid environment to this new business, this new opportunity. And I'm having this kind of inner critic in my head that's saying, wait a minute, you don't know what you're doing. You don't have the skills. You haven't been in that practice. And that's kind of that imposter syndrome comes in. And it's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be taking these steps because, your message isn't important, or you're not ready. And that has its actual benefits. Sometimes you need to have some restraint, and you need that other voice in your head kind of giving you that safety measure. But to me, it's almost like it's over safe. It's playing it too safe, and that's where I think coaching has allowed me to just get certain plans, habits, routines, certain thought structures, and really see them for what they are, and then work through those. So that's what's been really enlightening for me about it is that piece, in addition to just wanting to grow as a person and, not having guys talk to guys, but they don't really talk on deep levels.
Josh.
So when you
can you agree?
So yeah, and that's okay. Again, I'm a guy. I love guys stuff too. But when I want to go have a deep conversation, that's hard to find.
Yeah.
And when someone that'll like leave that conversation going, yeah, we're cool still.
So that's what I told my husband Iggy is I want him to listen to the podcast, and then he'll kind of get to know, and what you just said is huge because it's so true. Like, why do girls like let it all out, but guys like kind of keep it in?
Right.
Not all, but some.
Yeah.
So, and the imposter syndrome, what do you personally do when you have imposter syndrome? What has helped you like get away from that?
Yeah, I'm learning to just kind of like embrace it and let it just
Embrace
work
it?
through me.
Yeah.
You know, and it'd be like, okay, yeah, like you don't know everything. I'm never
Yeah.
going to be perfect. I'm never
Yeah.
going to say the right things. I'm never going to
Yeah.
have all the answers.
Yeah.
But if I don't do something and take action, I'm just always going to be in that same way of
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
And so I use it kind of as a motivator. When I hear that, I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
let me show you.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's kind of, but the thing is the voice is getting
Yeah.
lower and
Yeah.
lower over
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
not this thing. It's
Yeah.
not hindering me. So
Yeah. Well,
that,
it's because you have more experience, I think.
Right.
But I always, my friend of mine that's a guy, kind of a mentor of mine, we always go back to, he's very successful in business. We always go back to our successes, and that really helps. Like if we're ever having a day where we're like, wait, am I not at the top of the food chain? Am I not as good as I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
We
Absolutely.
think about experience is one thing, but what are your successes? That helps me. So
Great. Yeah.
So why do most people, it's 2023, why do most people feel bad about hiring a coach?
It's hard to be vulnerable. I think
That's
it's
so
hard to be
true.
vulnerable
Yeah.
to other people, and I think the stigma is when you get a coach, you're showing weakness, and I think it's the opposite. I think it's strength because you're taking steps to actually improve yourself. I think that's part of it. I think people think of like a coach as like, I've got problems and I need someone to make my problems go away. And I think that's kind of where that general resistance comes from. But for me, what comes to mind is vulnerability. It's hard to be vulnerable to someone and just share everything to you
Absolutely.
without there being some kind of a connection. And so, that's
sure.
a tough piece to get
And
over.
I get with health and fitness where whether it's a male or female, that the spouse will say, why do you need a coach? Can't you do this on your own?
Ooh,
As if
yeah.
it's a bad thing. And I
Yeah.
think, hallelujah, amen,
Yeah.
if you are vulnerable enough to ask for help.
Right.
And so what can we do as educators to help people feel comfortable hiring coaches for any area of life? Besides tell them what you just said,
Yeah.
which was awesome, which might be our kind of...
Yeah, I don't know. I just let people know maybe that, look, we're coaches, but we get coached too.
Yeah.
Where we have issues, we have stuff we go through. Like we're all going through life together, learning and making mistakes, right? Like you're not coming to someone who's perfect and they're going to show you. It's like we're just people too, but we want to impart something we've learned in our experience. And if you learn from that, great, you get better. So I think it's almost like we're your teammate. We're not your coach. It's almost like a coach is implied that I'm over you, looking down on you, and I'm going to show you the way. But it should be like we're on the same level and we're working together as a team.
Yeah.
So it's like teammate. Like in my team in general, I always say, this isn't my assistant, this isn't my work or my employee, this is my teammate. So I think maybe
Maybe I should start calling Josh my teammate, huh?
you do.
We've always went through that like title.
Oh, have you? Oh, okay. Yeah,
but if you love it, I love it, Josh.
I think that's maybe part of it is bringing that person into the understanding that this isn't you're coming for me and I'm going to judge you and then judge your character and where you are. I'm just here to help you get going. Like I'm not here to solve your problems. I'm here to make you aware of what your potential is, and then you can walk to that. That's what I think is,
I love it. Good advice. So, what do you tell people when they say they can't afford a coach?
Can you not afford? Can you not afford to have a coach?
Agreed.
Why don't people want to invest in themselves?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's like we will go and invest in stuff and things and TV and sports and whatever, but you don't want to invest in making yourself better. And I'm not saying people don't. I'm just saying why our mindset should be, I'm investing. One of the biggest keys to my personal success or financial success in business is when I started investing in my business, period. I had the skills, I had the experience. When I started actually investing physical resources and time, everything changed within time, of course, but it's an investment in your health. You know, when we were going through what we were going through with our physical issues with the, early on in the stages of our family, the doctor said, okay, 2,000. Here's what we got: $2,000 a month for the rest of your life, $500 doctor visits once a month, right? You do the math on that. So where do you want to spend money? Do you want to spend money in growth and opportunity and maybe finding solutions, or do you want to spend it in other ways? So I see it as you got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in your life, and that's the key.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I hate it when finances come in between, but I always say, most people accept what the doctors told you guys. Most people, that's it for them.
1,000%.
They don't have it in them to think, wait, could I get a second opinion?
Yeah.
Could I go to a naturopathic doctor? Could I look into health and wellness? They just accept that they're going to be popping a pill for the rest of their life. All these autoimmune diseases, I'm sorry, but most of them, they're just bullshit.
Yeah.
They're, they can be cured, but I always tell people, like, your finances should be your mortgage if you have it, your health insurance, and your health and wellness. If you don't want to pay for it now, you're going to pay for it later.
That's exactly right. Yeah. How do you want to pay for it? And money is just one way of paying. You pay in time. You lose time. You lose mobility.
Yeah.
You don't use your ability to lift up your grandkids or walk down the street. You're paying.
Yeah.
So, you choose.
Yeah.
That's kind of the mindset. It's not accusatory. It's just we're always going to make a sacrifice and a payment somewhere. So that's how I would position it.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit off camera about the direction that Jonathan's going in his kind of his own life and coaching. And what was really intriguing to me was he is getting into coaching men and men that are transitioning with work and life, and men that could be holding back some potential. And I wrote this down. He quoted, I think this is a quote, "One of the saddest and most inspiring truths is that we will more than likely fill our truest potential." What am I missing there?
No,
we will more than likely not fill our truest potential there.
Yep. One of the.
I was typing really fast as you were.
You did good. I can't believe you took those notes on. I'm impressed. Yeah, one of the most. I've still been pondering over this for weeks. Is one of the most inspiring yet sad truths is that we will likely never fulfill our truest potential. And I find that extremely motivating.
I do too.
And challenging at the same time. Like, it's such a dichotomy. Like, there's so much going on there. But so I'm sorry. I just wanted to fill that in.
I'm waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
So a couple other notes too, and you chime in whenever you want. A couple other notes. The reason that this was intriguing to me is because my husband and I feel like I kind of went through a real transition. We can get into that later. About 4 years ago when I sold my brick and mortar studio. It's a good story. I'll share it with you later. I kind of already, I don't know if you want to call it a midlife crisis or hit a wall, or, I just had that aha wake up moment. And that is when I sold my personal training studio abruptly. Not because I wasn't making money, not because it wasn't full, not because I didn't have 6 employees, not because things weren't going good, but things weren't going good with me. Like, you get that, right?
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
Where you just take care of everybody else and all of a sudden. So I feel like I kind of already went through that. And I found Melfit, which is my forever love, which is very rare for me because I've opened up a new business every 4 years since I was 27. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I have a 4-year itch. And everybody that's with me now, thank you very much, that's followed me from business to business, I get messages like, are you leaving us? Please don't stop doing what you're doing. And I love it. And I'm so passionate about it. And I'm sure you can get this too, as I've done so many things in my life for money. I haven't been passionate about it, but I've done it for money. So this is the first thing I've ever done in my life that's truly on my terms, in my home, with my phone, with my laptop, with people that, bring me value. So now my husband Iggy, it's his turn. So the meeting Johnathan couldn't have come at a better time. I took these notes because I think it's interesting and awesome what you're doing, but also this is like huge for, my husband, for me, for the direction of our life. And I think touching on what we already talked about, in order to get my husband, who kind of has that, I don't want to be vulnerable, I don't want to ask for help, I don't want to talk to people, having you and your approach and your kind of aura, it's going to be so awesome. But you touched on your 3 things would be focusing on mindsets, habits, and systems.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, are you going to be coaching men in the area of finance or personal growth, or both? Like, what is your direction with this?
Yeah, I don't have a set topic that I'm not interested in talking about. Really, what I'm focused on is helping men create momentum through self-discovery and guided accountability, and that can mean finance. That could mean, wanting to be more healthy with the way that they approach their diet, their nutrition. It could be simply relationships. It could be just working through projects. It could be maybe they're interested in developing a business and like, how do I get from getting out of my head about doing what I've done for 40 years and then taking this next step? What's the transition that needs to occur? And I've been there in my head, and I've gone through those progressions, and that's where I think I could help fill in. But as far as the general topic, I'm open to just in general, just like I said, helping men. And when I talked about the mindset, really the core of that is growth mindset. You're not fixed, right? So there's this author, Carol Dweck, who made this book, and it really focuses on, there's 2 types of mindsets: fixed, where you're like, this is it, or growth, where I am becoming, I am not finished. And so that's kind of where I want to focus on the content with the men I work with, is that we're not done, and there's value in what we've done and what we can still provide. And so, like Iggy, like myself, coming from the 80s into the 90s, where we had no technology, and then technology, and now only technology, we have such an amazing perspective to share. And then coming from working with our hands and being more relational to now being more virtual with our relationships, we can now combine those 2 and have a lot to share with the kids coming up that really need our advice, like desperately need what we've been through, relationally especially, but also what we've learned, going into the future with how we've managed relationships, technology, how we've managed money and opportunity. So I don't want to just say I'm a finance, because I think I have multiple dimensions I can help with.
And so many things that you've learned in finance can apply
Sure.
to this. Did you ever think that, like, when
No.
was your aha moment that you thought, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and then this can, because people have a one set mind. Some people think that they can only work at the post office for 30 years. So when did it click for you that it's like, wow, I can actually take these things and use this skill set for something else?
That's the crazy part. It's been a few years now, but I'm just getting to this point where I'm okay taking that step.
Yeah.
But it's like we talked about earlier, it's all of this curiosity that my wife and I have had. We're just generally curious people, and so we've pulled in all this information, knowledge, and now we're to a point where, wait a minute, all those experiences are relatable, so relatable,
sure.
and now I can share them. I'm confident enough to share them.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've got the gray beard and the wisdom to
experience.
The experience. Yeah, I've got the experience on me, and with that comes maybe some confidence to be able to just promulgate that. I see kids that are in their 20s that have an intuition that they know and they can still share it, and I'm impressed by them. But yeah, I over the last few years, it's been there's just been, this fire that can't go out, and it's like, I gotta, I need to, make this change, and to be able to share my experiences and share what I've learned. And then also just some innate skills that you have, like you have skills that you were born with, and you've cultivated them and you've learned more skills. It's just something that I know that I want to be able to help other people with. So
well, I could feel the fire. I could feel the passion on the phone. Like, I was very, very intrigued by this.
Thank you.
And if you're listening to this out there, and I'm sure that there's going to be quite a few people that are probably like, bingo, yeah, why do we feel that way? Or, so one thing I want to touch on too is, do you think men more than women worry about what people think of them? Or
yeah, yes, I do. I think men very much are sensitive to appearances. I personally, I'm more sensitive to my perception of myself.
Yeah.
Like, I have like this idea of who I am to be and to become.
Yeah.
And so I'm critical of that.
Yeah.
And
Josh, are you as well? Yes, I love to get Josh in it.
Oh yeah, so I feel like, yeah, maybe Josh, you can attest to this. I more care about where I feel my potential is and how I come across and I perceive, as opposed to what other people think. But naturally, I care. I mean, that's very natural.
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way to make my appearances any separate way for other people. I do it to try and, honor my family, honor, what we do, the time, the blessing we have to be alive. And so I honor that in ways that I feel are right. But really, it's within me that I think is I'm looking at the reflection and going like, you need to make sure you're accountable to you, and impress yourself in a way. So maybe it's ego, maybe it's selfish, but that to me is kind of the more masculine energy behind it. But in general, I think that
I've been my best self being selfish. 4 years ago, I thought was selfish, and it's the best thing I could have ever done. So how do you coach a man who has had the same trade for 17 years or 20 years? And you used an analogy about a hammer. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So how do you even start? What if you're just totally overwhelmed? Like,
like I shared earlier, I think the starting point, and especially this was for me, is, and the term is used a lot in coaching, but it's used in general, and it has this more woo-woo connotation, is holding space. I think it starts where you just are able to connect with another guy and just hold space for them and allow them to figure out solutions that they know that are inside of them. So when someone is interested in getting they're just like, hey, I don't know where to start. Let's just talk about it, right? So it's like, hey, what do you want to work on? What do you want to work on today, right? We're not here to fix a problem. We're just here to bring awareness to where you are and finding out a way for you to come to this, oh, wait, that's why I did, oh, what? Like just general awareness. So I think the starting point is just, just being able to have someone that you can go to and hold space for them, and then be able to come communicate it. Wherever you are in life, I don't think that it's like you said, the people that were saying, I'm ready, I'm just ready. I think those are the people that are going to show up, and they know when they're ready. But especially for men like me, family men that are in this kind of this transitional period, when you have questions about that, that's where I feel like I would come in and just be a good resource and support. And I don't like I said earlier, as I could call it a coach, I call it a guided accountability. I like that. Like, I'm just kind of like, we're going together and holding each other accountable. So what about you? What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I want to say this.
Okay.
I feel like you have a gift, because not everybody can listen, right, Josh? Would you agree? And also, what a gift to have somebody ask you, what do you want to work on? Like, I can't believe that people even think that that's a weakness. Like, I think it's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
To sit, two men together, right, Josh, and have somebody ask you, like, what do you
want to talk about?
What do you want to
talk about? Like, what's on your mind?
So,
Like, there's times where you can do tools and use tools, but it's just like, hey, like, what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have never had that in their whole life.
Right. And so it comes
My
with...
husband might be one of them.
That comes with a lot, right? There's a lot to that. But the way you structure it is if someone says, okay, I'm interested in maybe, exploring this topic. Okay, why is that important to you? Well, it's important because of this. Okay, so let's measure this next 30 minutes so that we know we're going to get success out of it. It's like, how can we measure that? Okay, I just need 3 takeaways from this talk to give me some clarity and awareness. And then you just start from there. And then you just kind of open it up, and then it's just... you get, you just ask questions, and then just go with the client and just find ways to bring just awareness to what they're going through and what they're trying to talk about. And again, the whole focus for me is there's no problems to solve. The clients have the answers, and we just let them work them through,
No problems to solve. Clients have the answers. I like that.
That's the agency piece, right?
Yeah.
That's the empowerment where people get empowered and know
that.
I got the skills to be able to.
Yeah. And another
That's kind of
thing
a core focus.
I think it's important is, I'll tell my husband, you're not your dad. I mean, you don't have to work till you're 70. Like, right, Josh? Like, that, to me, that's old school. Like, why can't it be different? Why do we have to work at the post office till our body's so broken down that we can't even enjoy our life? Like, changing the conversation about that. Why is it that, like, this guy that worked on my fridge yesterday, he's like, I'm going to work 16 hours for the next set amount of years, and then I'm going to start living my life. I was like, dude, you got it all wrong.
Yeah.
But he was younger. So what you said about trying to, teach the younger generation that, right, Josh? We don't, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, it's an amazing time to be alive. You've got the opportunity to be, like someone that has this very specific skill set, and then go into consulting, and then go into different avenues of where you can leverage your potential through online mediums and express your experiences. So this is a fantastic time if you're going through anything that is like, I want to make some changes, I want to grow, I want to personally explore and find new ways of being. There's no better time. I mean, it's just this is fantastic timing for it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wrote something down that you said. It kind of reminds me of my husband and I, that you've been dead broke together, you've made money together. I mean, it's pretty cool. To have nothing, have something, and maybe I don't know, have nothing again and have something again. But it's good to go through the,
absolutely,
it really, it just shows you who you are together.
Your struggles and your, those reveal your character to you, right? Those reveal yourself when you're going through those. And then if you're able to do that together with someone and stay together, and you're just like, the power that you can draw from that experience is impressive. So,
yeah. Okay. I want to ask you another question. Let's see here. Okay. So, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I mean, you've got your business here, you're doing your coaching, this is your forever home. You've got kids that are what age?
On a beach in France.
Yeah, I love it.
Ripped, tan.
Yeah. Woo! So, do you, I know you think outside the box because you're an entrepreneur. So, I know you probably have that mapped out.
Yeah, we talk about that. We're a bigger version of what we're doing now. I think on a national level, we think that what we're doing on a very community level now in 5 years, we want that to be a national voice, a national movement, and we're growing that. And the product piece of it, what we're developing, we feel like is a gateway to that. But really, it's about, like we talked about earlier, is making information and experiences available to people and just sharing those. So we see a bigger audience, a bigger community of support and accountability. And we just want to grow it as big as we can. It's as much, there's no ego to it. It's really just how big can we make this thing? And it's so cool. I know that may be vague. It's not exact, but that's where we see it going.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So who do you guys, like, you guys have each other for support, but And you mentioned that a few people were like, there's always those people that, don't think you're going to make it. Like, do you have a lot of support from people who believe in you? Not that it matters. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't.
I'm thinking like I don't want to be dismissive because we have had so much support in our life, but we've been fiercely independent too. And so outside of this community we're growing, it's really just, it's us. We're each other's support staff. And that's enough, right? It's enough, but it's not. The older I'm getting and the more I learn, the more I need to know. I know we need a team. We need a team of people that are like-minded on the same mission, ride or die all the way, and we build that, and that's how we get it there. But right now, it's us. We've been supported through family and people that love us and care for us, but we are each other's rock. That's what it is. But like meeting people like you and knowing that people are out there in the community that's part of this growth effort too for us. Yeah. And I know maybe, I think this just came into my head, but talking about the imposter, we're older. And so it may seem like, we want to grow this amazing thing. And maybe that's not realistic. I don't care.
I love that.
I don't care.
It helps.
I just want to go.
It really does help.
Yeah. So, because I want to draw from our experience and everything that we do because it's useful. Yeah.
So when we spoke on the phone, Johnathan was saying, maybe this is, kind of don't want to step on your toes. And I reassured him that I am not like that. I don't really think of anybody as my competition. It's $1 billion industry, and anybody with a heartbeat can benefit from my knowledge and your knowledge. I think we should shout it from the rooftops. And my sayings, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Yeah. And I think that if people can get out of their own way and stop feeling like other people that are in the same industry are competition, for instance, isn't it great to go buy a car and have 12 car lots there?
Yeah, right.
If you eat fast food, isn't it great to have all the fast food? Like actually, but it's all perception. And, it's like, if that's the way you're looking at things, you really need to open up your eyes and just, I work with people who don't do my workouts. Am I not going to coach them because they're not doing my workouts?
Right.
Great. You're eating my meal plans and you have a coach, a personal trainer. Cool. Together we're better.
Yeah, so absolutely. That's the growth mindset I was talking about earlier. It's not the fixed one. We're like, this is mine, and it's like this is yeah.
I gotta show you something I have on my binder. It's that exact thing.
Cool.
So, if you haven't already said it, what is your favorite quote or saying?
Oh, I love quotes. I love them. But right now, ones that I'm moving through that are really cool for me. The path is the goal. It's by Gandhi, and it essentially it's not about the destination or the goal. It's it's the journey. And that's been, and the other one I actually have up in my office is The Man on Top of the Mountain Didn't Fall There. And that's by Vince Lombardi, the Green Bay Packers coach.
Chills.
And it just shows me you got to do the work. Do the work, but enjoy the path, right? That's kind of like those two are important. But and one more, because I love quotes. My daughter today, or yesterday, we were just talking about just stickers and stuff. She's like, there's a sticker and it says, oh gosh darn it. It doesn't get easier, you get stronger.
Oh, I love that.
Have you heard that one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any good ones?
So
I love
it's kind of funny. It gives me the chills because on our website, it says, if you don't enjoy the journey, you'll never get to the destination.
Yeah.
And that is why I make Melfit fun. Johnathan asked me, is it funny, professional, like everything? We're super real. We're super transparent, and we want everybody to be that. But that is on my website, so that kind of gave me the
enjoy the path.
So,
enjoy the ride.
But, I don't know if you know this, but I'm also a marathon coach, and my races that I've done, it was never about the finish line. It was always, we need to show him our little life video.
That's
You'll
cool.
Really like it. It was
I never thought about marathons that way.
I
I always thought about them about everyone shows them crossing, right?
What got us there? Starting at 5 miles and then 10 and going out. One day I left my house here for an 18-mile run and I felt so good. The music was right. Next thing you know, I logged 21. Never. The focus was never. Yeah, you get the medal, but how did I get here?
Yeah.
You know, what nutrition did I eat this morning? What got me through this race? What mindset? What support? So yeah,
that perspective is key, right? That's a key perspective.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I always tell people, if you think you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail. You have to believe in yourself, and if you need one person to believe in you, we can believe in you.
Right.
So, another question. If you had one piece of advice to give someone who is thinking about making a dramatic change in their life, what would it be?
Just move. Just get moving. Don't wait to be perfect. Don't wait for the time to be right. Don't wait for your mind and body to feel like it's time. Like, just move. Be active. The adage I always use, motion creates emotion. You know, like, get moving, and then things will become alive in you and you'll be inspired to do more. So that's what like, take action, even if it's small. If it's a drastic change and it's like, for instance, my mother wants to start. She's in her 70s, and Mom, if you're watching, I love you, but I'm going to drop a little nugget on here. But she's in her 70s and wants to start getting active and working out, and I applaud that, and I tell her, just walk around the block. But 40 years ago was the time to start instilling that skill. 30 years ago would have been okay, 20, but like, you want to start where you are. Just do something. Don't wait for the time to be right. Yeah.
Kind of like Mel Robbins. Stop waiting.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the problem. I hear it all the time with health and fitness. It's like, the stars are never gonna align. You're always gonna have dirty laundry, dirty kids, dirty dogs. Like, your baseboards are gonna be like, it's never ever gonna be perfect. You have to just jump in.
Talk about take massive action. It doesn't have to be massive to be effective. It can be just get outside, walk a quarter mile, come home. Check it off the list.
I sometimes feel like, I always tell people, COVID changed my coaching style. I used to be a tad bit Jillian Michaels, and I have heard so many stories, and people have had so many losses, and I have so much compassion for people. And when I hear the stories and the I'm ready, my style is I meet people where they're at with, empathy and grace, and we do not rip the Band-Aid off. Right. I suggest you start with 3 25-minute workouts a week, but if you've been sitting on the couch for 2 years, if you can walk around the block, I'm happy. And I think that that's what people think in life, that, oh my gosh, I got to go in and clean out the pantry. I got to get rid of my friends. And whether you want to quit drinking or get off drugs or stop, get in shape, like, that is the worst idea ever. And my analogy for coaches is, whatever it is that you're addicted to, and there's so many addictions. I treat my clients like heroin addicts. If you call and you say, Coach Mel, I'm about to walk off the cliff, I don't care who I'm with. I will excuse myself, and I'm there for you. I'm there for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you walking off the cliff could be you having a major food binge and feeling so bad about yourself that it's hard to get back on. And the problem with people and coaches is, if you can always remember the heroin addict analogy, you're on heroin, you just get out. Where do you go? Go to a halfway house. From there, where do you go? You go to living with a counselor. And then, so there's stages. Then when you finally live on your own, what happens if you're alone? What happens if you don't constantly have a coach?
Right.
And that, I think, is what people are missing. And there are always, a lot of people will say, well, food isn't as serious as heroin. Yes, it is. It's killing people. 70% overweight obesity rate post-COVID. So I take it so serious. And I think that if people can think about that with, whatever coaching you need it forever, for the rest of your life.
It's a lifestyle.
So people get done. There's no ceiling in Melfit. If you need me, I'm here for you for life. You can be on my maintenance plan. What happens when people get away from their coach? They go backwards. How do I know this? Because they come back to me, and then we have to lose, the weight. So I think that I'm trying to drive home the importance of always having a coach. If it's money, it's going to cost you more to rehire Johnathan and rehire me, because why? Because we went backwards.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
okay?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So if you hire Johnathan as your coach, you're making progress and you're here. And let's just say you let finances or the voice of others, your spouse tell you, why do you need him? Why can't you do this on your own? And then you go back here, and then now Johnathan, thank goodness he's compassionate and has patience. He's got to start all over.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost you more money than if you would have just
Stayed the
maintained
course. Yeah.
your space in between your ears,
that's
right?
a great point.
I think
That's a
that's
fantastic point.
what people are missing. And the one thing I get, Johnathan, so much is I think I'm okay on my own. That's okay. But what is wrong with always having you or me? So I think that people still have that, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Why can't I do this myself?
Yeah.
Why do I need you? Why can't I maintain my weight? Like, what is so wrong with always having us?
Yeah, are we okay? No one's alone. Everyone needs something. Everyone needs someone. There's always a piece of the puzzle in this collective society that we need each other. So you need someone. We can get as much done as we can alone, but what we talked about earlier, to the next level, to grow, to maintain, to stay on track, you need a team, you need people, you need support. It's just, it's pretty clear. I can't imagine anyone that is living the absolute apex of any industry that does it alone.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at an Elon Musk, we look at, a Bezos, we look at, a Tony Robbins, we look at, you name it, they have support and they have people around them that are insulating them and keeping them moving. So it's just.
Sorry, guys.
But I wanted to mention something because you just said something, and so 70% of pre-COVID, what was it?
Overweight post-COVID. The overweight and morbidly obese rate is
70%. So one of the interesting, this just rushed in when you were talking, is that one of the discoveries of our early discoveries, and you may know this, but 70% of all pharmaceutical drugs are based off of natural compounds. 70% of all synthetic pharmaceutical drugs are based off of natural compounds. So what that told us is plants and medicines and those heal you, right?
Yeah.
But pharmaceutical companies, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole or anything, but you can't patent natural organisms, but you can patent synthetic copies of that, and then you can create a pharmaceutical and patent that and sell that. So that was like a whoa. Like 70% of the pills we take are based off of plants and nature. And we can't look to homeopathic, holistic approaches to make this work. Like, okay, light bulb. So sorry, that's a sidebar, but that was that was an important part of our awakening for us too.
And I think that people need to be okay with replacing the crutch, which is the pills that you are taking that you don't need, that you can replace with whole food. Replace the crutch with whole food. And it is thy medicine. It's like,
I agree.
it's so readily available, and so is exercise. You can move your bodies. And it's like everybody, I get on the phone with them and I ask in my questionnaire, can you tell me about your list of medications? And then sometimes I ask, why are you taking these? Because a doctor told me I need these. It's like, are you kidding me? So I'll get off my soapbox too. I could go on and on.
Yeah, one last thing. I'm going to stay on the soapbox for a minute, but and I'm not 100%, but Elvis Presley, and this is just a little, when he was found passed away, he was prescribed, I forget if it's 12,000 or 17,000 pills. He had 12,000 to 17,000 prescriptions of medication when he died. He didn't need medication. He needed something else.
Wow.
Right? And so he was looking for...
He needed a coach.
He needed something else. He needed something else, and everyone in his circle didn't see that. Right?
Yeah.
So now let's extrapolate that out into the country. Right?
Yeah.
Like everyone is needing something.
Yeah.
They're getting it,
Yeah, that's so huge. Huge.
I'm not saying that that's not the answer in some ways. I mean, there's strong ways, of course, that promote that pharmaceutical. But what I'm saying is, we need other things, and we're going to maybe the wrong direction there. So I just want to impart that. But
do you ever think about that, Josh? All the really good artists that have passed away, what have they died of? And what if they would have had support and coaches and counseling? It's such a shame.
Right.
All the good ones. It's always, right, Josh? Always some kind of, pills or whatever. Right. So, love the convo.
Stepping off the soapbox now.
I got so what, anything else you want to talk about? Anything you thought about sharing? You're a wonderful speaker. It's been great having you here.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
A wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure that we'll have you back. I'm sure there's more.
I'd love to come back with Melissa.
I know there's more. Yeah, both of you on here. But yeah, so I love entrepreneurs for one. I love risk takers. I love people that have confidence. I love people that can move to a new community and just own it and embrace it, and don't worry about the naysayers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're at whatever. So I love it. And there is enough room in this space for
I agree.
So many people. So
thanks for giving the platform. Thanks for creating a platform for this to occur. So
I appreciate that.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
We wouldn't be doing this without you. So thanks for the motivation, the drive. Yeah.
So we created Melfit Healthy Times. What edition's coming out today, Josh? 7th, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
I have to tell you that, not that I need a pat on the back, but you are the only person who's really reached out and acknowledged the magazine. And I don't say this to many people, but I always tell my sister when I send her, I have a twin sister, that 40 pages that you're flipping through, we left our soul there. That didn't just happen.
I know.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. So you reaching out was such a huge compliment, because, do you ever put stuff out there and you kind of wonder, how are people taking this?
Yeah.
How are they absorbing
What's the feedback on what I'm doing?
What are you seeing in your hands? So you saw, without even meeting me, hopefully the message and kind of our mission statement, so to speak.
We saw the value. We saw the value, and
that was
gladly.
So cool.
Yeah, gladly.
That's really cool.
We're excited for the new issue to drop.
Yeah. So one thing that Melissa said, and I totally agree, is we need to collaborate more. And Johnathan got a tour of my house, and I'm sure my husband will tell you this. This is kind of Melfit headquarters. Totally. And I created this space to share what I love. I've got my gym, we've got our office, we've got a green smoothie bar, we've got, the butler's pantry, we've got, outdoor workout space. So I would love to do retreats with, you guys, where people just come and hang, and, we start with your juices, and then, I make them a nice lunch, and we paddleboard, and not to put alcohol down in any way, but alcohol is such a huge, and I drink a little bit. It's such a huge part of society and, social gatherings. I just would love to do more things where, maybe at least the first part of your day is just, we're starting out with movement, whole foods, green juices, green smoothies, and that kind of thing. Not to say I'm not going to give you a really healthy glass of wine at the end of the night, but you know what I mean? It's like there's not enough. It's always, do you want to go have a drink? It's never, how many people call you up and ask you to come for a workout?
You want to go for a run? Do you want to go hike?
I'm going to call you guys because that's me.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We work out. That's why the green smoothie bar is there. I make you a green smoothie. It's just, I love that. So.
Well, this is the spot. This is so cool. I'm impressed. Everything that I'm seeing is, I can't wait to see it grow. So this is very cool. Fun, so. Yeah, you're right. We're social beings. We need to be connecting, and alcohol has always been that outlet. But and I'm very inspired by the kids that are coming up that are questioning that. Yeah, they're questioning. There's this huge industry of mocktails and non-alcoholic beverages that is pushing its way through, and I am super inspired by that. And so but I agree with you on that. Yeah.
So because people are always, if you don't drink, why? Isn't that funny? Are you on a diet?
Or they get you to drink, have a drink.
Are you cleansing? I've had to coach so many of my clients. So I think that if you just get a wine glass, put some kombucha in it or whatever, lemons and limes, if you're worried about people coming down on you, if they think you're drinking, then they'll get off your back if you don't want to, go into. But I don't know. I think it's kind of funny that people would ask because it could be anything. It could be a traumatic event.
Right.
How could you ask? So, it's like,
no.
So, but
it's such a cultural piece.
But it's good to be able to meet people that I know. If I called you and Mel and said, hey, we're doing an hour workout here with green smoothies, you guys would be down.
We'll be here.
Bring your kids.
Absolutely. So, they would be welcome. Then we would be here.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
Sure. I love seeing kids work out. It's so cute. So anything else you want to chat about? This was a good convo. It's been good to get to know you better. I had little nuggets, but...
Yeah, this has been great. I feel like we covered a lot of ground, and I'm just, thankful for the opportunity. Love to get Melissa in here as well. Mel Squared. Get Mel Squared in here. But if there's any questions that any of your, listeners have, I'm happy to, just impart any additional contact information or anything that's helpful. But thanks again.
So we're going to include your Instagram handle.
Okay.
Are you guys on Facebook too?
Yeah, we are. Yep.
And then your kind of personal brand is just your name.
Yep. Just my name. Yep.
So we will include that.
Cool.
We're going to include that book for sure.
Okay. Nourishing Traditions.
Yeah. Yep. And then any other questions, or if you guys want to reach out, if you're interested in the coaching side of things, and maybe in the beginning you were probably a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe gradually it kind of sunk in with you, which is I'm hoping for my husband. Then reach out. I think the first step to healing or changing any aspect of your life is asking for help. When I get that call from someone, ask Josh, I'm like, paper, pen, don't bother me. That is somebody's aha moment that they've been thinking about forever. And it's I'm just taking notes and just trying to figure out, this person has been thinking about, and you're their lifeline. I'm their lifeline. We play a really important role in people's life. I know you take it serious. I take it serious too.
Yeah.
So
then picking up that phone, that was a big step.
So don't be afraid to reach out, because it could really change your life and the space and the noise of what's going on between your ears. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being my guest, Johnathan.
Of course.
And thank you, Melissa, for introducing us.
Yeah, thank you,
and
Lily.
this is going to be awesome, the start to a beautiful friendship. So we love connecting, inspiring, and motivating you guys. And these podcasts are, I told Jonathan, we're not looking to get Insta famous or YouTube famous. The reason that we do this is just to get the message out and help people. So thanks for joining us for the Melfit podcast. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.